Hello, I'm Jason Skill and this is Painting with Skill, a series of lessons to help you master watercolour. But mastering watercolour takes time. I don't promise to make you an expert in 10 easy lessons. What I can offer is an in-depth series which will show you the versatility of watercolour and help you truly understand this wonderful medium. In my series, I offer, I think, things that I've never seen in other educational programmes. And I also don't ask you to run before you can walk. The programme is at a sensible pace, which I hope that you can easily follow. So, start watching the videos, undertake the exercises, and I'm sure quite soon your skill levels will rise, and it won't be long before you are painting with skill. Now, it often makes me smile when people come to watercolour lessons and they'll have a water pot that's absolutely tiny. It reminds me when I started painting of the absolutely minuscule water pot that I had. I imagined that watercolour was absolutely, delicate, tiny thing. So I had a very small brush and I thought that this was some kind of flagon of water. And it's okay if you're doing teeny weeny work, but let's fill this up with some water. And then let's take our little brush and we'll put that in with some blue. This is some turquoise blue. And let's turn that a couple of times. And okay, I've only put this in twice and it's already going quite blue now. Let's go in again. Well, we'll use another one. We'll use maybe French ultramarine. A bit more. Now, let's imagine you paint over a few minutes and you've dipped in and out quite a few times. Unless you are working very, very tiny, this is soon going to get dirty. So if you start using greys, blacks, reds, you're making a more dirty mix of colours, then the water that you want to then take and use this as your nice clean water isn't clean anymore. So what are you going to do? You've got to think, oh, hang on, I better empty this out. So let's just empty this out. So you've gone to the sink, you've bothered yourself, you've disturbed your painting process, and then you go back to the tap and you fill this up again, and so it goes on because it's tiny, right? So the sensible thing is that you need a bigger water pot than some small vessel. Now, I bought this from Asda, and what you get, this was £3.50, princely sum, is like some Russian doll set. You get one large one and then they steadily get smaller. Each one of these has a sealing lid with a gasket. I'm after the small one. The small one goes inside. Put these others to one side. And what I want is a big container and then inside it a smaller one. The beauty of the fact I bought the set where they all get smaller is I know that the smaller one will not stick up beyond the height of this one. And when I go to clear it away, because of the gasket, I can put that inside there. They can both be kind of dampish and it isn't a problem. I'm not going to cover the bag or box or whatever I'm carrying my watercolour equipment around in. That's not going to get wet. So what will I do? I will fill the small one placed inside the larger one pretty much to the brim. I'll get the second jug prepared. It's very Blue Peter, this. So fill that one up and then I fill the larger one to about halfway up the smaller one. And then with probably more the size of brush that you need, this is a size 12, we'll be talking about this in one of the later videos, is when I really heavily cover this in paint and put it in here. Yes, it's going to make this slightly dirty, and let's carry on slapping in the blue. Because you've got so much more water, it's going to be a good while longer before I need to go to the sink. The other thing is when I need clean water, this is where the second pot comes in handy. If I use a wash brush in there, I always keep this clean. So think of this larger area as your slops bucket. This is where you're going to basically take the colour and wash it through. You're not going to place your brush in the clear water section. That is just for when you need clean water, for when you're putting clean water on your paper to do wet in wet work. I may even just leave the wash brush in it. I know it's going to stay clean. And if you are using a wash brush, you don't put the wash brush in paint. You leave that so it's always clean in the middle. And what I'll be looking at in other videos is the fact that I may manipulate the paint on the side of this brush. I'll actually use this pot as a way of controlling the tonal value in the paint. Now, when it comes to getting rid of the water, what I would do is I would pour this out into the sink, and then I would just lightly wipe away the excess with some kitchen towel. I'm not worried too much about any water spilling out because the lid's got a gasket, so that's easy. As a word of warning though, I wouldn't use this for food or anything else afterwards. This is just now your watercolour pot for paint. You're not going to use it for kitchen food or anything. You don't want to contaminate anything you're doing with paint and food. Food and drink and painting are a no-no together. Okay, so there's your first thing, a water pot with a lid instead of a teeny weeny pot.